I want to ask you about fear. Like, what do you think? Let's kind of shift over there. Like, what are some things that you would say that people can do from a mindset perspective on kind of overcoming fear?
Yeah. So there's actually a really good story that I'll share with you real quick about fear. And it's about a kid who he's in a Native American tribe and he wants to, he's getting at the coming of age where now it's time to go on what is a vision quest where they go out into the wilderness for like a month or so.
Mhm.
And they're going to go out there because he's about 16 or so, whatever the age is. And he is like terrified because he's like, I could die. I could eat some plant. I got to live on my own in the wilderness. I got to hunt for my own food. Like, what if I eat some poisonous plant? What if I get hit by a mountain lion or a bear, or I just freeze to death? Like, there's all this bad that can happen, and I'm terrified. But at the same time, there's a part of him that's like, I want to do this because where I'm from, this is an important part of a man's journey in our tribe.
Mhm.
So going on this vision quest is how we actually become a true man.
Right.
So he goes over to his chief and he's just like battling, and he goes to his chief and he's like, Chief, it feels like there's two dogs inside of me. It feels like there's a black dog that's telling me that I can't do this and that I'm going to die and there's no point in doing it. And then there's a white dog that's saying that I can do this, that I'm going to come back. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to become a real man in my tribe and everything's going to work out. So it's these two dogs fighting inside of him. Oftentimes we have that kind of feeling inside of ourselves of like, should I start this business? Should I make this investment? Whatever it is. And he goes to his chief, tells him all this. And the chief looks at him and says, he puts his hand on his shoulder nice and compassionately. And he says, son, the white dog will win. And he says, how do you know that? And he says, because that is the wolf that you will feed. And my girlfriend actually has a tattoo on her arm that says the wolf you feed. And I thought that was so cool. It was really attractive for me because I knew about this story before I had known her, and I saw it's all geared towards the same story. So when we're going to make a decision to do something, to either make an investment that could potentially launch our business into the next level, or we're going to make a decision to even start a business or some new endeavor or go on an adventure. Maybe you want to climb Mount Everest and you're like, I could die, but it'd be so cool to see the top of Mount Everest. We have the white dog symbolizes our faith and the black dog symbolizes the fear that we have, you know? So we want to feed our faith, and the way that we feed the faith is by putting our attention to it. And that's like writing out your dream every day, like we talked about, or taking the time to meditate and to feed your mind, the whole manifestation thing that we talked about. You know, all this stuff is it all combines together. It's not just one thing or another, but they're tools to help us make this dream happen. So that's my take on fear. Jim Carrey actually has a really cool quote about fear where he said, you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance doing what you love. And that's like the thing, because life's not guaranteed. So I was in construction work and I was making the decision of like, I'm going to leave construction work and go into this coaching thing. It was a 5-year apprenticeship and I was 4 years in, and I had all my ducks in a row to start this coaching thing. And if I finished my 5 years, which was my dad told me to do, what everybody told me to do, I'd be completely vested. I'd be solid, totally set. And I could always come back and do construction. But the thing was that I didn't want to do construction. I had no interest now or future, like my beautiful, like best future self. Is he doing construction work? No. Maybe he's doing a job around his house, a living, because I was beating myself up, and my dad's just beat up as well from doing years and years and years of construction, decades. So I had this fear of like, I'm actually going to make the decision to leave a year early because I'm ready to go. And I'm going to just like work 3 months and then save up as much as I can, pay my car off, you know, and just go for it. And that's exactly what I did. But yeah, I was like negotiating with my doubts and fears and whatnot. And it has to come down to the thing that we really want to pursue. Like maybe you're in a position who's listening to this right now where you want to go start a business adventure or some kind of thing that you want to do that's not what you're doing now because you're not happy. You're clearly not happy here. Nothing has changed over a period of time. And you're like, I have this idea. I really want to do it. What do I do? Do what gives you life. Howard Thurman has one of the coolest quotes in the world. He was a mentor to Martin Luther King, where he said, don't do what you think the world needs. Do what makes you come alive. Because what the world needs are more people who've come alive. And I love that quote. And when I thought in my situation of like, I want to do the coaching thing because that makes me come alive. Thinking about staying here in construction work, grinding day in and day out, not being around the type of people that I really want to be around, not having the type of conversations that I want to be having, it makes me feel drained inside. And I feel like I am meant for so much more. And when we're really in alignment, like when I do coaching in this conversation, it gives me energy. It doesn't drain me of energy.
Right.
You know, I love meeting with people like Jake and having conversations like this about mastering the inner game because I know the value in it.
And
so if it's, you know, I mean, real quick, actually, this does dovetail into the original question. We went off a little bit of a tangent, but I still want to talk about this about, is it really possible to do the work that I really love? 100%. Yeah, because there's a 5-point test that I actually want to share with you, which is a simple framework to really make sure that your dream or this idea that you have is really worth your time and talent. And it's 5 questions that you ask yourself real quick. You can literally go boom, 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 boom. Good. You do it at a stoplight. Any dream that you have, whether it's a big one or a small one, you want to make sure that it's worth your energy because you're going to trade your most precious commodity, which is time, to build something. And we don't have a lot of time. You can make money, you can lose money, make it back, but you can't do that with time. So the 5 questions. Number 1, does it give me life? Like Howard Thurman's quote. When you think about this idea, does it light you up inside? If you share it with a friend and just say, this is what I'm working on, do you get like pumped? That's the idea. If that's a yes, check. Cool. Number 2, does it align with my core values? Meaning, does it align with who you really are? For me, construction didn't. I like working with my hands, you know, I like thinking creatively, but showing up, waking up at 3:30 every single morning to drive an hour to commute and then go grind my heart out for construction to build somebody else's dream. No, that's not in alignment with me. And if you think about your core values, like think about if you were on your deathbed and you could like reflect on your life, would you be completely content with the decisions that you made? I mean, of course, there's things that we didn't do, you know, but like what would have really mattered to you? That's a big question to ask yourself. What would really matter to you? For me, it's, I mean, like totally like being radically transparent. Coaching for me, I think the biggest thing that drew me to it is like, yes, you can have free time. You can have like endless cap of income, you know, doing coaching. It's amazing. But the biggest thing for me was that I grew up in a family that was very toxic and mental health was far out the window. And that's why I love coaching, because I love the inner game, because I know the value in mental health. So what really excites me is my future kids, giving them the life that I never had, because it was just chaos in my life. I almost lost my parents, you know, multiple times, to gunshots, to beatings, crazy things. And I never will have that for my kids. And that's what coaching really is for me, because it's feeling compassion, learning how to overcome fear, because it's all teaching. And I'm teaching this to my future kids. And that's what really hits home for me. So does it align with my core values? Hell yeah. Number 3, does it cause me to grow? When you think about this dream, is it going to cause you to stretch, to grow, because you don't know how to make it happen? You want a yes to that. And number 4, does it align with my higher, or does it require help from a higher power? So not everybody's into like higher power, God, the universe, whatever. I think you should practice adopting it, because it makes life a lot more enjoyable and fun. Personally, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that there's a force that's beating my heart, that's breathing me, because I can only hold my breath for so long and then I have to start breathing again. There's something that's working inside of us and with us, and it's got our back. And I have faith in that. Because the other way to kind of word that question, does it require help from a higher power, is, do I know all the steps necessary to make this dream happen? Because if you don't, that ties into, is it going to require me to grow? You want this thing to make you grow, because that's where real like change happens and growth, and you become a bigger person. The 5th question, the last question, does it have good in it for other people? That's the big question, because that's where the real fulfillment piece comes in. You can make all the money in the world, have a successful business, but if it doesn't do good in it for other people, you're going to feel empty inside, and you're not going to be as happy or fulfilled. So that's how you know a dream is really worth your time and talent. So before you even think about going after something, make sure that it passed those 5 questions.